Hello everyone, this is Pearlescent Pisces, and today we are doing a monthly reading. So this reading will be for the month of May. Basically, we're just going to get into what to expect in the month of May, what can you do to have the best results of whatever is going to happen, what can you do to comfort yourself, the advice from the universe, basically. What is in your highest good? We're going to figure that out. So yeah, today we're going to pick a card, and whatever card attracts you the most is whatever energy is you're attracted to the most. To explain that, each card represents your reading, and each card will have keywords to represent the energy surrounding your reading. So I'll give you some silence, allow you to pick. Hello, Pile One. Today we are going to do your monthly reading, and this is going to be the energy surrounding your reading. So let's see what the card is saying. Okay. So we have the wheel, and basically the keywords are a time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward. Fortune is on your side. That's what the energy is giving us today. So who is this person? Oh. Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay. What situation will they? What can they expect for the month of May? What can they expect for the month of May? Let's see. What is the ultimate advice you want to give? Ten of Wands, reverse Empress. Give me a moment to research this, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody. So, excuse me for that wait. But I did read your reading, and so basically, the energy of a time of positive change, a situation suddenly moves forward, and fortune is on your side, is very telling of this reading. Because for the month of May, I'm getting the vibe that you're, for one, okay, I asked who you were, right? I asked the universe, who are you? Who are you? And I got the Nine of Swords in reverse and a couple of other cards. And basically, what I think is you're a very insecure person within yourself. And I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm saying that because, we all have worries and anxieties, but you're particularly hard on yourself. And maybe you're particularly hard on yourself because there was a choice, which is basically the Two of Wands right here. There is a choice you have to make. And I think that choice might have to do with career or something that you love in the creative sense. Um, because we have Ace of Pentacles in reverse here and Four of Swords in reverse. I feel like you rested on this idea of, maybe wanting to change careers because this career wasn't fitting for you in some way. Like it just wasn't like clicking with you. And you have to make a decision as to like what you want to do here. And I think it might be keeping you up at night, and you might be too hard on yourself and insecure with yourself, maybe thinking that you can't do it, or you can't be who you want to be right now. You can't go follow the career you want to follow because of some reason, and it's keeping you up at night, and it's making you stressed out, and it's taking a toll on your mental health in some way. I do want to say though, this is a positive reading, so you can leave your worries at the door. um don't tell them to come in. You can go home, bitch. um because in the month of May, right, which I asked what are you expecting, basically you have death, which is a really good card in my opinion. It means killing something off that wasn't for your good. And honestly, I think you might be making the decision to leave this job, and if this is not a job, this could be a situation that you're in, but I'm getting a really strong vibe that it's a job or a career in some sort where it's just not serving you, and you think you need a more creative outlet more so than you need this, So death is telling me here that you're going to go through a transformation during this time. And the transformation is going to be, again, from the Page of Pentacles. um I feel like this new idea is going to spring money in your life, maybe just not as much money as you once had. um it's new, but it's something that you want to do, you know and you have the creative abilities to do so, I believe. um it's just once they just want you to know, right? Because this is for the divine advice. Don't overload yourself with a ton of shit. Like, don't be like, okay, well, I have to do I feel like this is a small business. And if it is a small business, please look into getting an employee, right? That could be a family member or somebody that you love, somebody that you're close to, somebody that you can trust, somebody that maybe you don't even have to pay, maybe that can help you get off the ground. um Again, that's just my opinion. Please, if you can, pay your employees. However, if you are in a situation where you can't pay for an employee but you do need help, just ask. um I'm sure there's people in your corner that love you, and you might not even realize that because you're so stuck in your head all the time about your own insecurities, that you might not know that people are there to help you when you have a lot on your shoulders. I also want you to know that yes, you might have a lot on your shoulders, but one, you're not alone. And also two, just because you have a lot on your shoulders doesn't mean that you haven't reached the finish line. If that makes sense, you might feel like you're tired. It might feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But keep going. Because the finish line is almost there. I mean, the Ten of Wands almost refers to completion. Just make sure you are also energized enough to take on the responsibilities you've laid out for yourself, especially if you are somebody who is trying to go through a small career or a small business. Um, don't overload yourself, especially during this time, because I feel like you will be. You might overload yourself, with a lot of responsibilities at once. And I understand it's because you're creative and you want to do this thing. But unfortunately, right, if you do end up doing this to yourself where you don't take a break when you need it, or you don't ask for help when you need it, you might turn out somebody who was insecure with themselves even more. And not only that, but somebody who suffers through creative block, and you don't want that, of course, if it's a creative career. So what they're saying is, do not lead into burnout. Don't lead into burnout, because you'll start feeling bad about yourself. You'll start, excuse me, you'll start feeling bad about yourself. You'll start feeling bad about your body. You'll start feeling bad about a lot of things, and you don't want that, because you are somebody who's very abundant in creativity and somebody who doesn't even see their own worth. And I asked if, what will happen if you do take this route, their advice, and they give you the Eight of Wands, which basically like signifies moving forward. I feel like your business, your small career, if you do have a small career, or the situation that you're moving forward with and leaving, maybe, um again, I'm just getting career from this. But again, if this is a situation where it's like a partner, or a situation, or it's not outside of the partner realm or career realm, just know that if you do follow this advice, you will end up moving forward. Um, Maybe at a fast pace, but a good pace. It's divinely paced. You know, just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Self care should be the number one priority during this time. I feel like you have a lot of priorities, but self care should be your number one priority, um, because you are somebody who has a lot of creativeness inside you, and a lot of things to give to the world. You have talent to give to the world. It's just you need to also make sure you're taking care of yourself that holds that talent. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that is your reading. Expect good things in May, as long as you take care of yourself and you look for things that are for your highest good. If you're staying in a job that is making you miserable, tired, or upset, or you're staying up at night thinking about it, I would suggest just go for what you want to do in life. Ask for help when needed. Um, And yeah, pursue those creative endeavors. Again, we got this beautiful card, which is time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward and fortune is on your side. Just remember that was your energy for your overall reading. Okay, well, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful May. Thank you. Hello, Pile 2. This is your reading today for month of May, and this is going to be your surrounding energy in the month of May, or at least on your reading. Okay, so we have the Nine of Earth here, which is enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, and successful self-employment. See? Yes. Ah, she's gorgeous. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry. Let's pull out your cards. Okay. Hello again. Excuse me while I was taking time to research and read your reading. Basically though, sit comfy for this one and grab a comforting snack because we're gonna have a serious conversation here. Um, welcome to your therapy session. I'm joking, okay. But I do want to have a serious discussion here because I am to help more so than I aim to comfort. You know what I'm saying? However, comfort is a very important thing and I do think that it's helpful. However, what I'm going to focus on right now until before the comfort um is a serious discussion. And what this serious discussion is about your attitude. Okay, I know that sounds crazy and I sound like I'm parenting you. But I feel like you're a person who's really bitey towards people or snappy towards people. And that could be because, and again, maybe this is something, because this is a broader reading and not everyone is like this. You could be dealing with somebody who is like this. Take what resonates. If you resonate with this being somebody else, then take that. If you resonate with this being yourself, then take that as well. I just want to make it clear that what I'm going to say and all these things, this whole reading is not meant to shame anybody for how they act in life. That is not meant to tell somebody that what you're doing is wrong, whatever, right? This is just for your highest good. But basically, what I see here is that you might be a difficult person. And again, if this doesn't resonate with you, don't take it. But you might be a difficult person to deal with in terms of, because you've suffered through a lot in your life, because the wheel right here, because we have the wheel of fortune, because your wheel of fortune is always turning, and maybe a majority of the times it didn't turn out the way that you want it to be. You turned out to be somebody who's bitey, where I think you turned out to somebody who doesn't trust in what they have. Maybe what I mean by that is like relationship wise, if it's a family member or relationship, you might not trust that that person is for your highest good, or or they actually love you in some sort, and or like maybe you do, but you end up biting at them when they tried. When you're in a stressful situation, or maybe you have a past experience with them that you just can't let go, and you keep biting them every time they come up in your life. Again, broad because this is a broad reading. However, I am getting the sense that there is a difficult person here where because they've suffered through a lot in their life, they tend to bite at other people and tend to be mean to other people, when in reality you don't have to be. Nobody wins in a war, nobody wins in a fight, especially in a fight where nothing is going right. Both sides are not hearing each other. So at this point, what are we doing? um and in the month of May, I do see that you might be fighting with your family, right? And this fight can be, what I'm getting is this fight, because Ten of Cups represents a family, a happy family, harmony. Um, I see it more so than as a family card than a relationship card, but it could be a relationship as well. You could be fighting amongst a partner or a family, or you know one of those things. You could be fighting about traveling somewhere, maybe traveling to live somewhere else. That's what I'm getting. Where you could be traveling overseas to live somewhere else, maybe for a job, maybe for just wanting to get out of America. However, or wherever you're from. I'm so sorry, not just American. I'm so sorry. Um, Maybe you don't want to be where you are right now. You want to travel overseas to somewhere else. Um, However, I don't think that you guys are handling this in the right way, because we have justice in reverse here, which is someone is not taking accountability. Someone is being an asshole. Someone is kind of saying things that they don't mean. Um, so if that is you, if you are kind of fighting about this traveling situation, or just kind of, if you're not fighting about a traveling situation, then you could just be fighting about really any situation that has to do with moving forward in some way. Because Ada Wands is something where it's like, oh, I'm gonna move forward, I'm gonna do something, right? You might be doing something or moving forward on something that your family might not agree with in some way. And like, you kind of like, again, I feel like you are fighting somebody in your family and not being a good about it. You're not fighting with class, you're not fighting with maturity, um you're fighting with insecurities. You're fighting with things that are not really there. Like PTSD is coming to mind, right? Where you've been through so much that you tend to think that everyone's out to get you when nobody is. Especially your family. I feel like your family does love you, especially if your family is a relationship, chosen family, whatever, whoever you're happy with and feel in harmony with, or can be in harmony with. I feel like that you're not seeing that they love you and seeing that they care for you, or maybe that it's the opposite, where they're not seeing that they love and care for you. Regardless, someone is being an asshole here. They're not taking accountability, they're not apologizing for something they should have apologized for. And if that is you, your future is not looking great if you go down that route. um we have the Five of Pentacles here, which is losing something and being depressed and feeling like nobody is there for you. And if that is you, especially if this whole reading is resonating with the attitude problem, again, that is not a shameful thing. It is just something that is, occurring. Um, if you do have that attitude problem where you don't accept anybody in your life really to help you. Not only that, but you don't accept anybody in your life, period, to where you'll bite at people if they do come into your life, or if they disrespect you in any way, when in reality they're not really disrespecting you, they're just having opinions. Um, if you keep going down that route, it's showing that you won't have nobody by your side. And when you do lose financial success, or because I feel like you might go through a financial loss here, because for context, I got the Two of Pentacles in reverse, which is your money is not divinely flowing, and you might be, again, losing money and needing help from other people. However, no one's there to help you because you've treated people this way. And again, my suggestion is apologize when you need to apologize. When you apologize and you create connections with people, and if you're somebody who has mental disorders, who is it's quite difficult to be somebody who's very cheery all the time or very mature, very mature mentally. What you can do is sit these people down, or at least write a letter or something to tell them why you felt the way you felt in detail. So at least they know. Even if you might sound quote unquote crazy, you at least tried something rather than sat in the dark and let people wonder why you said the thing you said to them, or why you did this and that. Again, people have the right to accept your apology and not accept your apology. But what you can do in this moment is just do what you can to make things right with your family or your relationship or the person that you chose as family. Because you do need people in your corner. Everybody does need people in their corner. And if you do follow this advice, because I asked the universe, what happens when you follow this advice? They should give you a few cards here. And Three of Wands is basically the main energy for that. Here, Three of Wands basically is, again, signifying a travel of some sort. I feel like you will be traveling overseas if you do follow my advice. Your plans will go forward. However, to get through that, right, to be able to move forward, to be able to successfully move forward to a different place, um, maybe even like if it was for a career, if it's for just moving somewhere else, you have to solve that inner conflict, within yourself. You have to solve maybe the inner conflict in your family. However, I'm getting inner conflict in yourself, where it's like this mentality of you being insecure with yourself or angry with other people because of excuse me, because of PTSD. It's not serving you. This is not going to serve you if you keep going down the route of being mean and bitter towards other people, because I feel like you think people are trying to attack you when no one is. And if you need to go into a period of isolation and think to yourself and rethink a lot of things, I suggest you do so. And I suggest you kind of have a rebirth of yourself. Look into the mirror and think about, you know, what is not serving me? Why am I not happy right now? And it could just be the fact that you are not happy towards anyone else, and you are not accepting happiness from other people, and you're not accepting to be happy with other people. Um, Six of Swords here in reverse, right? Signifies having to move on from something that you're not okay with. And again, this is moving overseas. And before you move overseas, you have to solve that problem with that family member, or that relationship. You have to talk things out. And if you need to go through a period of isolation before you do so, please do so. But before you end up moving overseas or going somewhere else, please understand that tie up any loose ends, especially with somebody you love. Explain why you felt the way you felt. Discuss things. Be mature about things, and you will become bountiful. Ace of Pentacles is holding money in your hands. You'll become bountiful, and I'm sure this is probably a new career. Um, this is probably a new career that is overseas, and you will be bountiful in it. Of course, there will be challenges that will hit you moving forward, because that's life. Unfortunately, you already know that because of the Wheel of Fortune here. Life is always moving in a circle. It's never ending. When you're going through a blissful time, eventually you'll go through a tough time. When you're going through tough times, you will go through a blissful time as well. That is just a circle of life. And they want you to know that life isn't always so hard, and people should be in your corner. So, yeah, that is going to be your reading. Nine of Earth was your overall vibe with this. And yeah, enjoy life's little luxuries. Enjoy life's little luxuries. If you have hobbies you like to do, especially if you're isolating yourself to rethink things, like for example, video games keep up in my head. If you like playing video games, play some video games, play some Minecraft, while thinking to yourself, about your behavior over the year, your behavior with a certain relationship. What can I do? No one's listening to me, and if no one's listening to me, and nobody's taking in what I have to say, and I'm not taking in what they have to say, maybe this war isn't worth fighting. Maybe we should just forgive, forget, and move on. Um, spending quiet time alone. Again, yeah, spending quiet time alone in this card. Successful self-employment. You'll be successful in yourself if you just spend some time alone and rethink your discussions, rethink how you act, rethink how you progress with things, rethink how you react to situations and arguments and these people. I feel like you are somebody who's went through a lot, and that's why you're so bitey towards people and so quick to be harsh towards people, especially because I think also you might have been through some family trauma. And if that is the case, you're valid in what you feel. However, I think it's calling for a time for you to move on for your highest good. But yeah, that is going to be your reading for the month of May. I hope you take care of yourself during this month, and yeah, have a good one. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Today we are doing your monthly reading, of course, for May. And this card is going to show what your surrounding energy around this reading is going to be. Okay, we got the King of Fire. Motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Advice from someone creative. This is a man on a dragon. Pretty card. Excuse me. Oh my god. Excuse me. So yeah, we are going to pull your cards now. Give me a moment. Okay, welcome back to your reading. So I've done some research and pulled some more cards, and here's what we have. So it looks like in this month, not even just in this month, I asked who you were, from the universe, just to get to feel of who you are. And I feel like you're somebody who is a big hustler in money. I feel like money consumes your life in some way. And I feel like you have an unhealthy attachment to money. I feel like because maybe you weren't secure, maybe as a child, or because you weren't secure at some point in your life, that you might be super secure at this point to where, your number one priority might be money. But I think you might be getting tired of it. You might be getting tired of hustling. You might be getting tired of all of this I have to be financially independent all the time. I think it's something that comes first nature to you, like making money, having to hustle, all these things, right? Investing in yourself, investing money wise into yourself. However, it's not suiting you. It's it comes firsthand to you, but it's not for your highest good, because I see a lot of pain and a lot of frustration in something. I feel like you are making money, it's just you're not happy. I feel like you're frustrated with the fact that you're not happy, even though you're kind of making money, you're kind of balling right now, but you're not happy with it, I feel like you have a lot of love to give, romantic wise and creative wise, but more so romantically wise. And I feel like you want someone to share that love with, maybe you want to start a family. maybe you want to settle down and start a family with somebody. And I think that might be the case and what you might be focusing on in this month, because we have the Lovers here. Basically, the Lovers can mean a pretty nice connection between two people, right? Somebody who has charisma with each other, and somebody who you vibe with, right? Somebody you can settle down with. I feel like you're masculine. I feel like you have some masculine energy here. I feel like this is I feel like the reader here is a male, or at least looking into a woman to be in a relationship with, to settle down with, or a feminine energy to settle down with. If you're not a male, then you're just somebody who has a lot of masculine energy, which is not a bad thing at all. Masculine energy and feminine energy are completely two energies we should be in tune with, especially balanced wise. However, I think you're looking for somebody just to settle down with, and maybe if you're not looking for a family, just settle down with, period. I think you have a lot of love to share with the Ace of Cups, and you want to share that with somebody, and I think that person will come in May. And I think you're going to leave that disappointing feeling behind, where you realize that you had a lot of money, sure. You had a lot of opportunities and success with your money, or, you know, you're a hustler, this and that, right? However, I feel like that was not serving you, and I feel like you're going to leave that type of mentality for a little bit and kind of indulge in your lover, you know? And the lover doesn't always have to be an actual romantic connection. It can be somebody platonic-wise or family-wise. However, I'm getting strong vibes of an actual lover here. I feel like, again, you're going to go into a little bit of a honeymoon phase during this time. However, I do want to point out that there is still that rocky mountain here, because I asked what the outcome is based on what's going on in May, you know, and you got the Two of Pentacles in reverse here, and also the Two of Cups. Basically, I think that, and this might scare you because money does control your life in some way, that I feel as if this situation is going to be, you're going to lose money in some way. You know, I feel like you're going to start realizing that money is not falling, like money is not gliding through your hands in the way that you want it to be. And I feel like you're kind of stressed out about that, and you're confused as to what to do, because it's never really happened to you, or not never really happened to you. I think it has happened to you before, and you don't want to be back in that scenario where it's kind of stressing you out, where it's like, you know, oh, I think I need to start focusing more on my career now because I got too lost in the love. You know, I got too lost in loving my partner. And I think this is where you need to make a decision, because Two of Swords here, I asked, you know, what will happen if you follow this advice. Two of Swords is basically somebody who has to make a decision here. And I think the decision is, do you choose career or do you choose love? Okay? And here's what I mean by that. So, Five of Cups as well, is I feel like you're disappointed with the love life you're going to have now. I feel like it was very joyful and very full of love and light, and it could still be that way 100%. The only reason why I feel like you're disappointed here is because I think that the lack of being financially so strong, right? I feel like the second that you lose money out of your hands for even a second, you might be disappointed, and you might be like, because, like, okay, the Five of Cups represents a man, right? Staring down at 3 fallen cups. And that could be your abundance and money and wealth, you know? You might be looking at these cups like, oh, man, my money is not flowing like it used to be. I'm not as you might be taking care of this partner, or you might be having a baby on the way, or try for a family with this partner. And you might be realizing that because you have to send money on these people, you're losing it, you know? And it's quite disappointing. However, you don't see that there are cups right here. there are 2 cups right here that are still standing and still there for you. You just don't see it because you're so focused on what's disappointing you. And I think that's what's making you have a blindfold on, because the decision you have to make is either, do I go forward with creating a family and staying in a relationship, or do I go forward with becoming independent completely and just kind of erasing love out of my life for now and kind of focusing more so on money. However, for my advice, from what I'm getting from the tarot as well, is that obviously I think that this past has not served you well. I think this past of choosing money over relationships or your own self is something that is quite toxic in itself, and I don't think that you should go for that. I think you should, if it comes to financial problems, discuss with your partner how you guys can balance it together. You know, you don't have to be completely independent in order to make money. You don't have to be completely independent in order to have money flow correctly. And I think even when you were independent, the money that was flowing wasn't money that was going towards anything that was good, because, I mean, you weren't even happy when you had money, you know? So I think that you two, the relationship that you guys have, I think you do share a very, very, very strong connection with one another. It's just that you might be too lost in the sauce of money, and you might be too lost in greed in some sort. And they're really calling upon you to take that blindfold off and see that you have a lot of abundance and love in front of you, and you can make it work with your lover. You don't always have to be independent. Yeah. And of course, right here it says, focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Advice from someone creative. A leader, in my opinion, because I had just watched Mufasa, like Lion King, it was literally called Mufasa, the one that they animated, you know, with a new story. And that kind of was about how Mufasa was a king and how he led, right? It kind of talked about how Scar wasn't a good king, but Mufasa was. And the reason why Mufasa was such a good king was because he was able to take advice from people that were creative, people that were like a feminine energy. Like he took advice from the female lions and was able to become a better male because he took advice from female lions. He was able to become somebody who was motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Exactly that, you know. And I feel like that advice from someone creative is me, and I'm feeling that vibe really strongly. So take my advice, please do. And in order to be a leader, you need to be feminine and masculine, right? Because I told you earlier that I feel like you have a masculine energy regardless of what gender you are. I feel like you can tap into that feminine energy while also being able to talk to your lover, right? Because I feel like your lover might have that feminine energy where that lover brings you a lot of happiness and joy romantically and makes you feel loved. And I think they're saying, you know, tap into that. If you are loved, be loved. You know, you don't always have to be in between two decisions like the Two of Swords here. It can be one decision flowing together with the both of you making that decision, you know. You don't always have to be independent to be abundant in wealth. Especially because wealth doesn't always have to be an abundance of money where you're just overloaded in money. Wealth can be, the ultimate wealth and the ultimate, basically the ultimate wealth can just be a family and living comfortably enough to support each other, you know? So yeah, I think that is just going to be your reading today. And just again, for the month of May, make sure you're communicating with your loved ones, and make sure you're not putting too much of an emphasis on money and material goods, because love is where it's at, you know? So, yeah, that is your reading, and good luck to you in the month of May.